he is on NA, right? It's a little weird.
He is Brazilian.
Well, let me reverse these names for you here at the last minute because... But, you know, like I said before, was it... No, it wasn't Sorry. It was somebody else we were talking about. I know is they're Brazilian, but they live in Portugal. So maybe that's the...
Oh, man, who was
something
it?
Similar, maybe.
Who was it? I don't remember. I remember you saying that. I just don't remember who it was.
Yeah. All right. Well, either way, we're here. Where there's a will, there's a way. Oh, it was Otono Dorado. Yep.
And speaking of wills and whales, whale is a great card against discard aggro. They really want to go wide with those one drops, and then, like we were talking about, drop the crowd favorite. But you know, when Insulinado makes a play like this, where he throws down the Zonite Urchin turn 1 and then goes in for a trade, I have to wonder, did we actually have the crowd favorite?
Yeah.
So going wide. It's looking like a really solid hand from WhatAmI, though. I mean, we've got the TF for the red card. We've got the Withering Whale. Insulinado, unless they can get down a... and they're not even going to have the first priority on turn 4. So a red card is probably in the works before we can actually get down a crowd favorite, and this could be the smallest one that we've seen so far. If that's even what's coming down. You know, it could be... I mean, Jinx even just gets gold carded, but if they're proactively red carding, we'll see how it plays out turn 4.
And there is, you know, this is something that Go Hard has been able to do in some of these aggro matchups. We remember a really long time ago, red card is a crux of the game plan when we are trying to go up against an aggro deck like this. And, oh yeah, Zonite Urchin going to feel great being able to utilize this red card on that as well. And going to make this House Spider, though, so that we can't actually trade the Jagged Butcher with the House Spider if it does come in with an attack, which feels a little bit bad, and get full value out of something like a red card. But I imagine we're still going to block something like the Zonite Urchin to at least prevent some damage.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I feel like Insulinado is probably going to have to go in with everything and just understand that there are Twisted Fates in WhatAmi's deck. There are Withering Whales. You need to take the attacks with these 1 HP units where you can. And if it reduces the effectiveness of your crowd favorite, that's something you're going to have to figure out on the fly a little bit later on. And we're actually still going to block the House Spider to get it down to 1 HP to set it up for the red card. And just probably float the rest of the turn. I don't really see us go-harding anything here.
Oh, actually, okay, gotta take the value trade. I guess that makes sense.
Insulinado. Wait, Insulinado, he's Bry guy.
No, yeah, I didn't put in the prediction results from the last Bry guy.
Okay, I was about to say.
We'll start a prediction at the start of the next game.
I just saw that flash across my screen. I'm like, hold on, we're casting different universes here.
Yeah, I'm making calls before the game even ends. Like, I'm that confident, Boulevard.
Well, I mean, he took him out in top 8. You're living in the past.
I know, right? All right, this is a juicy red card, baby.
And this has got to be the red card, right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to save this Vengeance for Jinx if you can. There's no reason to give your opponent the really tall of a seed. And we'll have to see what kind of redevelopment Insulinado has, but with these really powerful tools in WhatAmi's hand, and we might even have to get to a point where we think, you know, what does level Twisted Fate look like here?
I mean, you think we're going to be level in Twisted Fate in this? I mean...
It's we've got a Salvage and a Zap Sprayfin and a Dream.
You might be right, but there is the Jinx coming down, so that Vengeance has got to be having her name written all over. We're attacking into the
Yeah,
Jinx.
we are willing to trade
the
Twisted Fate for the Jinx if we get the block and throw down the Go Hard. And I think Insulinado's probably double checking that deck list and saying, there's no Vile Feast. What's happening here?
Yeah, no, I like this. I like this. You don't even want to give your opponent a shot at ever utilizing Jinx. So if you can get rid of it without having to spend 7 mana on Vengeance, I think this 100% makes sense. This is a much better use of your resources than having to spend 7 mana on an entire turn getting rid of a 4-drop. So definitely like this.
Yeah, probably going to have to use the Vengeance a little bit later on, but something else of note is that there is only 1 survival skills in Insulinado's deck. That's already gone. Any Jinx we throw a Vengeance at is dying.
Yeah, and like we mentioned earlier, there is only 1 copy of a Mystic Shot, just a solo Mystic Shot there, and we did see it just come out. So, probably smart on Insulinado actually getting rid of the Twisted Fate. So we aren't actually going to see a level Twisted Fate, especially now that Betty Croker's coming off the top. Looks like we might have had a level. You might have been right, Boulevard, if we didn't deal with it there. So, and it's just 4 damage on the open attack for Insulinado, so this is going to feel pretty good as well.
Yeah, kind of curious if WhatAmI wants to Vengeance here to preserve the HP, or if we are going to take the line of waiting for the Jinx to actually level. And like so many before him, just going to proactively Vengeance and say, if you have another Jinx, I will deal with that one later. I don't have time for this right now.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I like this. The way that WhatAmI is playing makes perfect sense. We are just prioritizing, nope, get it off the board, get it out of here. We don't want it. It's the same way that people should have always treated Twisted Fate for so long, but they didn't.
Well,
it's basically how we're treating
Insulinado,
Jinx.
you know, he played by your rules. He saw Twisted Fate, he instantly missed it, shot.
See, I don't know if I agree with that from a burn or an aggro deck perspective, though. It's always a questionable act when you're throwing burn at units instead of the face in a deck like this, right? Like it just feels so wrong. Like everything should go face, right? Isn't that how this works?
Maybe that's why you're on the casting desk, bud.
Everything goes face, Boulevard. Come on, you know it's true. And there's the Vengeance, though. It is going to clean up the Jinx. Which this only puts Insulinado at 3 cards in hand. And one of those being a Battlecaster is definitely not good. So that means, hopefully, there's an Augmented Experimenter in there. We need some card draw ASAP. Otherwise, Insulinado is going to be in a real rough spot here, especially because we're going to have something like Zap Sprayfin coming down and the Betty Croker. We're going to have a lot of ways for WhatAmI to replenish resources and then continue to start to develop a wide board and actually put the aggression on Insulinado to start closing out the game.
I know you talk a lot about discard aggro being one of the more powerful decks out there. If it gets the perfect opener, nothing can stop it. That's not really the hallmark, the trademark of discard aggro. This is the trademark of discard aggro. More often than the unstoppable opener, it certainly feels more like we're getting games where, you know, we're sitting on hands where we're digging for any kind of refuel. And when I say digging, I mean we're just drawing our card for a turn and saying, oh, I really hope that one was it. And if it's not, then we'll see where we can go from there. But the crowd favorite pickup is really timely, as WhatAmI doesn't have an answer for that one per se. We do have the second Go Hard in hand and another Zap Sprayfin. We might be able to find Pack.
Yeah, Pack pretty much ends the game here. WhatAmI will be able to close things out. And here's the first Go Hard. Or I should say another Go Hard, but the first one in hand anyways. Also have the Withering Wail already.
And you know what? Yeah, that might just be the end of the ball game there, bud.
Yeah, especially when you got a Withering Wail about to come down too to clean up these Boros. Ooh, wow, and a Ruination.
Yeah, and the only damage getting pushed through here is going. I mean, technically we are going to push through the full 5 if we want to take the block because the Zap is going to get pulled out of the way, or we're just going to take the Croaker out of the way and say, hey, if you want to block a Zap Sprayfin, that's totally fine. But still taking the block onto the crowd favorite and playing the health preservation game. This is probably going to be the Withering Wail or not. Just setting up for a Ruination on the following turn, I guess.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a little... Because now we're also developing the Zap Sprayfin, so that is a little weird. Maybe...
Probably... I mean, I think we were ideally trying to get Pack online here, and we just find second Glimpse Beyond instead of any of the 6 Go Hards in our deck.
Yeah. Well, there's more draw, so that's what this deck does best, and... If we do commit the Betty Croker, that means we're definitely not going with the Ruination route. So, yeah, it is going to be Betty Croker. Ooh, that's a really good Withering Wail now. Woo!
Buffed up Whale.
Oh, man. That's why people play this deck to start with, right? This is a feels good play here.
And sometimes I wish we were operating in a text medium because I'd really like to be able to say this is a Withering Wail, but spell it W-H-A-L-E.
Oh, God. Oh, man.
I wish there were separate pronunciations.
Alright. And, yep, we got a Dreadway deck can coming down. We get the 5 mana left over. And this is looking pretty good for game 1 here with WhatAmI. Doing a great job of dealing with discard aggro here. And, I got to go back to that red card. That is Twisted Fate red card is the way to beat discard aggro. If you are able to get that juicy field clear off on turn 4, it's so hard for a deck like discard aggro to come back unless you very specifically have a super fast, level Jinx or augmented experimenter into a Jinx or something like that. It's just not going to work out. Oh, Draven.
Okay, we get a Draven. That's not going to die to the Withering Wail. That's cool. No, starting to mount the comeback. Step 1 is Draven.
Yeah, actually not going for the whale this turn though. So it looks like we're just gonna play it in combat, which I also
Makes
do
sense.
like. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
no reason to give your opponent the ability to redevelop. And oh man, Draven's biggest fan. I would assume that the Draven was drawn first, or maybe we even sandbagged the biggest fan trying to draw things not named Draven, but Draven just sensed the presence of his biggest fan in hand and said, "Don't worry, I'll be there."
Do you like Draven's biggest fan in discard aggro Boulevard?
I don't really like discard aggro, but I would imagine that if I were playing it, I could be persuaded to throw a biggest fan in there.
I feel like there's always some discussion around this card and whether or not it's worth putting in the deck because it's kind of a, I don't know. I mean, we all get why it's in here, but I do like it because if you do get Draven's biggest fan on turn 1, it feels like you can just win the game with a 2-drop. So you go 1, 2, 3, all first 3 turns, you're just good to go. But then when you get to the points in the game like this, similar to Demacia drawing a crappy 1-drop later on in the game, like Cithria, doesn't exactly feel the greatest. Wow, another whale.
Oh,
off the
man.
top. Jesus.
And a box.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys caught that. There was 3 whales total. So all 3 whales, that's the last whale in the deck, but 3 whales also going to do work versus discard aggro.
And chilling at 15 HP, I have to imagine that there is not a world, a string of top decks where Insulinado can come back into this one, especially given that WhatAmI is sitting on 2 out of 3 go hards towards the pack your bags. So it's just a surrender out of Insulinado. Gonna move on to the next game, and we'll see. I would imagine that it was probably the Lysandra that was banned, so we will get to see WhatAmI on his signature Invoke deck, seeing how he can pair into the aggressive lineup that Insulinado has brought here this weekend.
Yeah, so we got either Azir, Darius, or Spider Aggro. I'm really hoping Azir Darius was not banned. So we can actually
Could
see
just get a run
play.
back on the discard.
Yeah, or we could get a run back on the discard. I'm kind of hoping we switch it up when we play the Azir Darius, but we'll see. Because I'm concerned that if we are going with discard, I mean, so what do we think was banned on the side of WhatAmI?
I would guess. I mean, honestly, I could see an argument for the Azir Darius. The Ruin Runner is not something that WhatAmI is going to handle well in any of his lists.
And I mean, TLC was probably banned for WhatAmI, right? On
Almost certainly.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that you leave that up. You know, we just saw a complete decimation at the hands of a TF red card. Ice Shard and Avalanche can do the exact same thing to you.
All right, yep, yeah. So here's Zoe Diana, and we are just going to run back the discard aggro yet again. So we'll see how Zoe Diana does with this. I mean, we do have 3 copies of Fangs in here. We do have 3 copies of Star Shaping, all that good stuff. So there is the normal, you know, kind of package of heal here for Targon, sans the Guiding Touch, which we're not playing. So I guess it's really going to come down to, with discard aggro being such a board-centric deck, and there's the turn 1 Draven's biggest fan I was talking about, if WhatAmI can keep up on board in the early game. And right now, with this hand, it looks like we are going to be able to do that, especially with Solari Shieldbearer.
Yeah, we opened 3 1-drops and a Solari Shieldbearer. That's gotta feel so good for WhatAmI. And with Insulinado having the attacks on odds, there's a real possibility that the Shieldbearer gets to come down and just completely invalidate a Draven turn. Because, as you had mentioned, we get the biggest fan on 1. We are guaranteed to have Draven on 3 if that's the route that we should go.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's gonna be interesting because it does seem like, at least on the surface, anyways, Insulinado might have just as good of a hand for his deck. I do like not attacking there. I mean, discard aggro generally wants to keep as many units on board as possible, go as wide as possible for something like a crowd favorite, like we've been talking about, like we saw in the last game. Pass back without summoning anything interesting.
You would imagine that WhatAmI is going to want to go in with this super cool star chart. What are you owing? What are we wowing?
We got the Danger Noodle online again. Like, this just seems so good for WhatAmI. This seems like an absolute backbreaker of a start against Insulinado. Yeah, see, we can see the Shen emotes. This is a hand that is good, like meant to beat discard aggro. Wow.
Second place ain't so bad, right? You know, I can name some silver medalists.
Are we already calling it Boulevard? Are we? Oh man,
It's looking pretty rough. It's definitely not called. Insulinado can definitely, like, if Insulinado finds a Jinx and can level the Jinx, WhatAmI doesn't have anything for that.
wow. What is this Zoe? Actually, wasn't there a deck a while ago too? I think it was. I don't know if it was Targon Noxus, but it was like an aggro deck with. No, what's that card that costs 0 if you behold the Celestial? It's a 2/2.
Oh, Starry Scamp?
Yeah, there was like some sort of aggressive Targon deck.
Who's it called? Annie Desu had like a Starry
That's
Scamp
who it was.
Foundry deck
Yeah. Okay.
that I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And I do mean really cool. I don't think it was really good, but it was definitely cool.
So
it was like a Zoe Teemo deck. It was like not too long after Zoe
Yeah.
dropped, and people were still kind of figuring out what kind of decks to play him in. But here we see what we talked about earlier: the Draven being stalwarted by the Solari Shield Bearer.
yeah, that's gonna. If we saw the Shen emote after the Serpent, I'm surprised we didn't see another Shen emote after the Shield Bearer came down. This is definitely a feels bad man moment for Insulinado. You know, only 4 other cards left in hand as well. Yeah, and just, wow. We're at 20 on turn 4 versus discard aggro. WhatAmI has got to be feeling pretty freaking good right now. Even the Messenger, you just got to draw it a free 2/2 blocker. Like, come on, man. And the Scryer to reduce the cost of all the Celestials. Like, this is not cool. Oh,
you know
man.
what I was just thinking about?
Oh, there
Has
was
WhatAmI
missed the
ever won a
Allegiance.
Duels of Runeterra?
That's a good question.
I don't think he has. They only have back until like Targon dropped, and I don't remember ever hearing of WhatAmI before Targon dropped. So it's possible, but I don't remember.
No, you know what? I think because we do so much OLS, I'm pretty sure all the tournament wins that he's had have been OLS.
Well, he's definitely won things that aren't the OLS.
No,
right?
no. I know, just like most of them though, right? So
Yeah. Ooh, we whiff on the
Oh.
Equinox. Yeah, this is the
Wow.
kind of situation where Insulinado can start to come back because
Mhm.
WhatAmI, as you mentioned, critically whiffing on that Mountain Scryer. Atrocity is really bad in this situation as well as the whiff. It's sort of like double duty in this kind of matchup where I'm not even, if you whiff on Bannerman, you're like, well, at least I'm top decking a Misfortune. Here, it's like, oh no, I'm top decking Atrocity.
Well, yeah, and that's all it takes, right? So the beginning hand of WhatAmI seems like it was perfect for dissuading any sort of aggression from Insulinado as far as going wide and stuff. But unfortunately, we were still able to develop the units, get the crowd favorite, and that means crowd favorite is going to get a hit in, probably on a, blocking the Mountain Scryer, or the Mountain Scryer will block it, so it takes the least amount of damage. But even just one hit with this crowd favorite suddenly brings Insulinado back in the game, and doesn't matter what WhatAmI's opening hand was. If we don't find an answer, if we don't find an Equinox, like you just mentioned, or something for this crowd favorite, we will just lose to 2 big crowd favorite hits, and that's just going to be game over. Even right here, we're going to trade for a couple units, right? We're going to get 2 uses out of the Flame Chompers thanks to these 1/1s on board. And,
Ooh.
that's a thing. That's a thing. Oh, boy.
And we're axing onto the Flame Chompers to play around Pale Cascade, saving the Zoe. I never want you to be able to get down a lifesteal unit. And the Zoe is pretty close to leveling. So heads up play on the side of Insulinado. And even if there was a Hush to, save the Zoe, you know that if there's a Hush, it has to go on the crowd favorite.
Yeah, okay. We are at least going to make the trade, though, for WhatAmI. So, yeah, definitely a good play from Insulinado there. Playing around that Pale Cascade. And this is going to be 10 damage. And all of a sudden, now Insulinado is at a point where we are actually threatening possibly lethal very, very soon. That was... Wow, things happen fast with discard aggro.
I was a little surprised by one block that we lined up here.
Yep.
And there was a 2/1 Spiderling coming in from Insulinado that we blocked with a Spacey Sketcher instead of putting 2 damage onto our Mountain Scryer.
No, I think it was 3 because of... Oh, no. It would have been 2.
Yeah, just the Spiderling, yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So I'm curious to know, because there are things that you can chump block, right? Like this Draven can get chump blocked by a 1/1, so I'll have to see if it comes back to bite him, but I don't think it's going to be super relevant.
All right, we got a Trickster now as well, and that Star Shaping going to be a big deal. So now, with Star Shaping and Fangs both coming down, I think WhatAmI is going to be After that little scare there,
I mean,
Insulinado, I think we're good.
that little scare is a funny way of talking about this crowd favorite that stuck around.
Because it seemed like WhatAmI had such a hold on this game, right? Like
Absolutely, yeah.
It was
Insulinado started off really slow.
And now all of a sudden you got the crowd favorite. Okay,
Ooh.
now another big old scare. that's a big scare. Oh
Yep.
man.
And it's getting closer and closer to the potential jinx that we were talking about not having an answer for on the side of WhatAmI.
Oh boy.
You know, we're already down to 24 cards in deck.
Oh man. We've seen it time and time again. Boulevard, you know, we got all the heal. We got all the little units to try to clear up the board. We got all these answers for aggro, and somehow aggro still perseveres. And that might be the case here with another 8-3 crowd favorite coming in. There will be a blocker to be able to kill it at the very least. But, oh my god, wow.
The Moonlight Affliction on the double Nasus was really cute, but you only get that kind of luck once. We do not have the Moonlight Affliction for the double crowd favorite, and that is going to be a monumental amount of damage pushed through. And WhatAmI is locked into playing one card this turn.
Yep, and you know, I mean, do you consider actually playing... Okay.
You got to play the Diana because it's the only other card you can play with Star Shaping.
I was gonna say, do you ever consider atrocitying the 8-3 crowd favorite?
If your opponent drew Get Excited, I think you lose to that. I'm not even sure that that's going to be enough because you'd still be down a blocker. It's kind of rough. Maybe that was the line, but I think if you lose this atrocity, you never actually win the game either.
I guess that's it. All right. So that's a fair point because Insulinado is at 11. Problem is, I don't know if we ever actually get anything up that high, I guess.
So next turn, in theory, if we lived here, we would hit for 8.
Yeah.
Or we would hit him down to 8, and then all we need to do is kill one unit with the Eclipse Dragon.
And it's in range, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, actually, this Great Beyond would represent lethal next turn if we can live here, and we are gonna live at 1 as it stands.
Woo.
And we need to keep the Mountain Scryer alive in order to get the Great Beyond down next turn. So we are going to be dead to that Mystic Shot technology that Insulinado is running.
I think Insulinado is going to take this away, though, Boulevard.
It would be so wild if he didn't.
Wow, look at that, man. I just absolutely like the perfect start for WhatAmI. Like that hand is probably what you want in this matchup. And then Insulinado, just 2 crowd favorites, and we are back to square one. The discard aggro deck has by far and away the advantage right now. And, oh, there it is.
We got something.
It's going to be
that
lethal.
Could only be a Get Excited, I think. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and that would have been a survival skills discarded to stop the atrocity line had we gone for that. So 6 ways to Sunday was Insulinado picking that one up, and we are going to a game 3. Might have spoken a little bit too early on talking about whether or not WhatAmI had picked up a Duels of Runeterra win, because I don't think Insulinado has either, and he is not going down without a fight after a really rough opener, able to maintain the mental, and we're pretty sure we're going to see spiders now, but we're not 100% sure, so will be nice to see.
Don't say that. I want to see.
Why would I not say that?
I want to see Shurima.
There's Ruin Runners in the Shurima deck, and that's hard to deal with.
Yeah, I guess. Man, we've seen Insulinado a few times now. We still have not had a chance to see this as Darius. It's just unfortunate.
No, I think it was Branched Kata was a player that we saw run that really early on as well, and that was also banned every game. You know, this is Zero Darius, just has a lot of respect paid towards it.
All right, baby, here we are, game 3.
Ooh, all the marbles. I'm sweating a little bit. Are you sweating?
It's getting a little hot in here. It's getting a little hot in here.
Don't call comeback, but Insulinado is not going down without a fight. And, you know, WhatAmI, not as strong an opener as there was in the previous game, but not bad by, you know, any means necessarily. We do at least get this cute little Lunari Duskbringer Spacey Sketcher combo.
I mean, hey, it works, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Spacey Sketcher, awesome tool to utilize, discard those extra cards in hand, and get, crucially, maybe some of those smaller units again. If we can get one of those Danger Noodles online again early on, maybe it's able to pick off some units. In this case, Elise hitting the board, you're probably looking for maybe even a Trickster at this point for a fearsome blocker.
You can't fool me, Insulinado. That sad Poro meal doesn't mean anything to me anymore. I saw you fire that off so many times last game.
Yeah, I think Insulinado thought last game was over too, but
Yeah.
all right.
Diana pick up. Oh, and a Serpent.
Yep.
Insulinado could have a really tough time maintaining a board here, and
Yep.
Spider aggro is not discard aggro. If you lose the board, that's really all you got. There are no crowd favorites coming down. There's no Jinx that's gonna solo carry the game. What you see is what you get.
Yeah, I will say, I do think discard aggro was more. It was just in a better position to pick up a win versus this particular deck. Whereas, like you mentioned, Spider aggro, you want your units to stick on the board. You want them to hang around, and you don't have. Even though we had a way to deal with the units from the discard aggro deck too. The discard aggro deck has that one big crowd favorite. Like, that was the difference maker in that game, right? Like, you just throw that down, and now you have a giant overwhelm unit that can end the game. We don't have that with spiders. All we have is going wide and getting a giant frenzied skitter return, or multiple doom beasts, things of that nature. And right now, having Diana early on in this game, that is a huge hit to Insulinado.
All right, let's see if we can actually connect a Mountain Scryer in a way that is meaningful this time around. Get a second Mountain Scryer to make sure. But it could also just be the Messenger coming down this turn. Nope, not going to hold the Pale Mana. Not going to whiff on that. And Cosmic Inspiration, as well as the Traveler and another Messenger. I mean, if you grab Messenger, you have 2 0-mana Messengers next turn.
Yeah. Yep. We'll see what WhatAmI decides to go with here. Traveler also seems pretty good, but yep, no, there's the Messenger. So you nailed it. 2 1-mana Messengers is definitely going to gum up the board a lot here. And again, they're not fearsome blockers, but they're still going to do a lot of work, especially when we're staring down a board of a Legion Saboteur and a Doom Beast that are not fearsome. They'll be able to trade quite nicely. And this is bad for Insulinado. This whole board is probably just going to go bye-bye right here. We're going to trade. We're going to put the Spacey Sketcher blocking the Legion Saboteur. We're going to go ahead and be able to block the, with the Solari Shield Bearer onto the Elise there. Yep, we're just going to go all the way down the line. Even trade off the Diana, and that just leaves 5 cards to Insulinado. 5 cards for WhatAmI, 3 cards to Insulinado, and 2 of those cards for WhatAmI, they are cards that are going to draw additional card advantage for us and also put some units on the board to continue to block anything that Insulinado can come up with. This, unfortunately, although discard aggro can come back, like we saw discard aggro come back, spider aggro can't exactly do the same thing.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't have that sort of same comeback potential. We kind of went over that in the early game. Not going to harp on it too hard, but with 3 cards, you are looking at pretty limited options. There's no, like, Captain Farron top deck that we can get here. I've been kind of curious about the lack of crowd favorite in Spider aggro. Just because you are an Oxus deck, you're on House Spider, your plan is to go wide. Maybe it's just not the strat that we're going for here. I can understand that. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, this is... We went the route of the 0-mana Messengers, and WhatAmI always seems to be the player that is playing this Shadow Isle Invoke deck like an aggro deck. We saw him a lot last format when it was Aphelios Zoe. So many times we saw triple Sky Shadow by turn 5, going down and pushing our opponents down, and using the Atrocity as a finisher like you would see in Endure decks when they didn't draw Endure, right? Where it's, I'm going to get you down into range where my Escaped Abomination is going to kill you.
Yeah. And now I don't, we could get some Stalking Shadows online, maybe. For Insulinado, just at least get some of that card advantage back, but...
Yeah, but there's a one-sided Ruination in WhatAmi's hand as it stands right now.
Yeah.
Just 9 mana, blow up my opponent's board.
Oh, man. Man, if I didn't know any better, we're actually playing that Messenger Bone deck where we just buff up all the Celestial units. Would love to see that in Top Cut, but guess we're going to have to make do with the board that we see here. And, yep, there we go. There's the Moonlight Affliction blowout we were looking for, right?
There go the Messengers. No more Skies Descent, deciding that is not the route that we need to go. But we're going to get... is this an Noxian Fur? That feels so bad. All right, so we got a prayer here. Follow me, right? WhatAmI is not killing Insulinado anytime soon. It's going to be at least 2 turns. If we can jam out 2 Decimates or 3 Decimates over the next 3 turns, maybe.
I mean, is Insulinado's name Bratchkata?
Actually, WhatAmI might be killing him here with that Charger pickup.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
With the 12. Atrocity still? Yeah, this is
Yeah, we're good.
So yeah, as we were saying at the start of the last game, what am I? Just absolutely, definitely gonna take this one away, right?
Oh, there's a decimate. There's a decimate. There's a decimate.
Yep.
We're doing our best.
Now you just die, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, we have the atrocity. There's a Skinner,
okay, okay.
Yeah, okay,
We're live.
Skinner, hold on.
Stalking shadows into Doom
1
Beast.
minute.
All right, I'm feeling it.
Oh, does that even do anything?
I don't think so. And now atrocity isn't lethal, or is it? Or is it?
I mean, we still have atrocity mana if that's what you're asking, but we're going.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
man,
we're going.
double atrocity. Oh, what am I? What am I? What am I? The answer is a Duels of Shurima champion, if I had to guess.
Oh man, and this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9 damage coming through. We are gonna trade. So we would have been. We almost had it still with the Pale Cascade.
And a star shaping.
Jesus.
Well, all Insulinado needs to draw is the patented 9 mana burst speed 7 damage spell that every spider aggro player keeps up their sleeve for situations like this. But instead he passed the turn. Interesting tactic. Not sure how it's going to work out here. Oh, that's right. It's going to be an atrocity lethal from What Am I? Your Duels of Shurima #2 champion, picking it up 2-1 there over Insulinado. The spider aggro, JDoza, as you had mentioned, you thought it was really weak in terms of aggro decks right now, and unable to pick up a win and finish off this Targon Titan.
Boulevard, all I got to say, if we can get a couple of these in chat. Woo! Let's go,
God.
baby.